Now, we're going to be talking about Eternals a little bit today. Of course, it's the biggest movie out right now. It just opened last night. And we're going to be talking about the audience scores in a little bit. But an interesting fact and figure just came in. With the mixed reviews coming in about Eternals, about half the critics like it, about half the critics don't like it. I really liked it, but I had no idea what other people were going to think about it because it is a film that's very different from the rest of the MCU. And I have not known how people are going to respond to it. I know it worked for me, but unlike Shang-Chi, where I came out of Shang-Chi going, holy crap, I think everybody's going to love this. And clearly not everybody did. Not everybody on the planet. No movie has everybody love it. But I came out of Shang-Chi just knowing people are going to love this movie. People are going to love this movie. When I came out of Eternals, I had a big smile on my face. I really enjoyed what they did, but I did not feel the same way as I did about Shang-Chi, thinking everybody's going to love this movie. Everybody. I didn't think that. I didn't know how people were going to respond or react to this particular movie. And sure enough, the critic ratings have been very skewed. And the fact of the matter is these are all brand new characters. These are all characters that 99.9% of the audience has never heard of. And so how would the film do at the box office has been one of the hanging questions. On top of whether the critics would like it and whether the audiences would like it, we'll talk about that parts a little later. We haven't known really how well is this thing going to do. Well, apparently it's off to a pretty darn good start. According to Variety and box office reports right now, Eternals made $9.5 million on its Thursday preview, which actually right now paces it ahead of Shang-Chi. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety. They write the following. Eternals, the latest chapter in Marvel's sprawling, ever-expanding superhero universe, opened to a mighty $9.5 million in Thursday previews. That is the third best preview result for the COVID era, just behind Black Widow, that had $13.2 million, and Venom Let There Be Carnage, that had $11.6 million. It's a tick ahead of Shang-Chi's $8.8 million haul. Internationally, Eternals is playing in 39 material markets to date, which has earned them an estimated $19.8 million in its first 2 days. Now, what is another really interesting thing about this $9.5 million opening number is the fact that if we go outside of the pandemic era and go to another MCU film that opened in November, not too awful long ago, Doctor Strange, Eternals actually did better business on its first Thursday night than Doctor Strange did on its first Thursday night outside of the pandemic era. Now, nobody expected Eternals, filled with characters nobody's ever heard of, to be the number one, right? It's not going to beat a sequel like Venom. It's not going to beat a OG Avenger in Black Widow. But I also, if I'm being honest, I didn't think it would top Shang-Chi. Because Shang-Chi, yeah, new character, but it looks full action movie. It's one new character. Yeah, if you'd asked me, did I think Eternals filled with all these characters that's even more different than most people are used to, and ain't nobody heard of any of these characters, did I think Eternals could have done better on its opening night at the box office than Shang-Chi? Frankly, no. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Shang-Chi went on to make $75 million in its opening weekend. $75 million in its opening weekend, which is great. Now, that just because Eternals made more on its opening Thursday night does not necessarily mean it will top Shang-Chi. But listen, again, me being honest, there were estimates out there that Eternals was going to make $70 to $80 million in its opening weekend, and frankly, I thought it would come under that. Not like $20 million or $30 million, but I honestly thought 70's a chance, yeah, but honestly, I'd looked at those projections and I thought there's just too much going on here. On top of that, the split critic reviews, which I don't think are going to hurt the movie terribly badly, but still it'll have an impact, even if it's small. And I would have guessed, guys, straight up, I would have guessed it would have come under that. With this thing beating out Shang-Chi's opening night numbers, I think now it's pretty safe to say it is going to fall in that $70 to $80 million range. Hell, it might even exceed the $80 million range. Now, I'm not making any predictions right now. But considering Shang-Chi made less than Eternals on opening night, and Shang-Chi went on to make $75 million, is $80 million out of the question? I don't think it's out of the question now. I wouldn't have thought that yesterday. But today seems like it's in question, and that now it's going to be buoyed up a little bit by some positive audience reviews and word of mouth going around, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. So I thought that it was interesting. Anyway, the question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Or are you surprised that the Eternals actually made more money on its opening night than Shang-Chi did? I'm not going to lie to you. I am. Whatever you guys are thinking about this, jump down into the comment section below and leave us your thoughts.